to start silencing my phone when I'm doing videos. It's so weird when I'm not filming. No notifications. Nothing. Nada. When I film, that's when people got a text. Hey guys, so I'm going to be testing out the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation today. And I got the shade 5, which is warm beige, which obviously had a lot more of the yellow tones. And just so you can see the swatch of it, I had trouble finding swatches, so I'm swatching it for you guys who might also have trouble picking a shade that would focus. So that's it, just spread on my skin, and I'm just blending it out so that you can kind of see how it would look like. There's a little bit more of opaqueness there, so you can kind of see the coverage. Now I know it looks a little yellow on my skin, but obviously this is my hand. But as you can see, it has a lot of the yellow undertones that I'm looking for, as that matches me better. So I have a little bit of concealer only because I have really dark under eyes, like super dark, haven't been sleeping. So I'm going to test this baby out right now. And for this, I'm actually going to do 2 different methods. I'm going to use the Beauty Blender on one side, and I'm going to be using a brush on the other side just to see if it makes any significant difference. So far it really has really good coverage. I didn't put a lot on, but you can already tell the difference between both sides. I have a lot of redness around my nose area. And I purposely didn't conceal it for this demo so that you can kind of use it as a scale or to kind of gauge the coverage that this foundation gives. So I'm going to cover that up, and we could see how opaque it really does, and to see if it really does the job of covering all that redness up. And as you can see, it really does an amazing job at covering up all that redness that I had. And it's a time saver because I don't have to worry about color correcting and get a green color corrector and then put the foundation on top. I like that I can just kind of cover it up with just the foundation. Let me finish this half of my face with the Beauty Blender. I notice typically in general I like applying foundation with the Beauty Blender. It kind of minimizes the streaks, and I feel like it gives a nicer finish for me personally. But so this is the foundation on this side. This is bare face, and obviously this one was the side with the Beauty Blender sponge, and as you can see, it looks pretty good, looks pretty airbrushed and flawless. And I didn't use concealer again on some parts of my face that I usually would use concealer, just because some foundations can sheer out. But this does a really good job at covering on its own. Now I'm going to use a foundation brush. And for this demo, I'm going to be using my Cover FX liquid foundation brush. And it's just a tiny flat top brush, as you can see here in comparison of the size. It's not your typical huge kabuki brush, but I love this brush because it does a great job of getting into the smaller areas of my face. So I'm going to apply a little bit of that. Just And if any of you are wondering what this is, I'm having some carpal tunnel and thumb issues since I'm always doing lots of activities and things. I edit a lot, I type a lot, I do photography, and those cameras are super heavy, and then I type for 9 hours at work, so eventually it gets wear and tear, and that's pretty much what's happening. I try to interchange between my right and left hand sometimes, which I've gotten pretty good at considering I'm predominantly right-handed. So as you can see, you can switch off, but every now and then I still like to kind of keep it fresh, you know? Okay, so just want to make sure it's all good. All right, so again, this was the side using the makeup brush, and it still gives pretty nice even coverage, so I didn't notice a significant difference in regards to how it looks whether you use a brush or a beauty blender. If you want to kind of look at opaqueness, this was like a tiny little scar that I have that's kind of healing and it's slowly fading away, but you can kind of tell in terms of, you know, how opaque something is. So typically on this side, what I would do is I'd probably use the beauty blender on this side, that way I can have more coverage, and then I would apply a little bit of it on the tip of the beauty blender and just kind of roll and pat. Just to kind of hide that a little bit more. And right now it still feels a bit tacky, so I'm just gonna let it dry a little bit, and then I'm going to do the rest of my makeup, and we're gonna just kind of see how it performs for the rest of the day. So I will be back. So I actually forgot to film as soon as I put my makeup on and I was already done, because I actually had to go run and meet some friends. So you can consider this kind of like a mid check-in. I was only gone for like about an hour and a half, but this is the Milani foundation so far. It still looks pretty good. Still looks pretty matte. I don't really notice any areas of shine or anything like that. And just so you know, I don't really touch up, like I don't really blot, I don't put powder throughout the day. Typically I just don't, unless I'm going somewhere and, you know, I gotta stay pretty matte. But for the most part, I pretty much just put it on in the morning, and that's it. So this is just how it looks with about like an hour and a half wear, like I said, and it looks pretty good. So this is the foundation right now, Natural Light. I'm just kind of by my window over here, as you can see, and the foundation looks really, really good. It's like I said, it's pretty matte still. I have no areas of shine, and usually I get shiny around this area, my nose, and kind of right here, but so far it looks pretty good still. So that's a plus, and I'm gonna check in again a couple hours from now so we can see how the overall performance is, but so far so good. So it's about 1:03 a.m. and this is the foundation after how many hours. There's some shine here and here, but nothing too crazy. It's still held up pretty well. So you could see my little scar is showing through, so a little bit of that faded. I still have some bronzer on my cheek. But overall, I'd say the foundation held up pretty well. It's just a bit shiny here, but again, I didn't touch up because I really wanted to show the foundation's performance as is without anything, but I think if you were to use blotting paper or blotting powder and just touch up throughout the day, it would be fine. Overall, for a drugstore foundation for $10.99, can't really beat that. So yeah, definitely give it a shot.